So you saw the title of this video. I'm going to try and summarize this video as fast as possible. I bought the G9 II because the GH7 wasn't out. I sold the G9 II because the GH7 did come out, and a lot faster than anyone thought it would. But that doesn't mean the G9 II was a bad camera. In fact, I kind of loved a lot of the things about it, and you can check out this video to see my initial reaction and reason for purchasing it. But at the end of the day, the GH7 ended up being the better camera for me. That being said, the G9 II is 80–90% the camera of the GH7, so hopefully by the end of this video you'll know which one is right for you. See, the biggest strengths of the GH7 over the G9 II are really just the form factor and functionality, because from an image standpoint they're basically the same. In fact, I don't think there's any real differences other than the GH7 can shoot RAW internally, which can be nice for some people, not me. So anyway, if I were to summarize the issue I had with the G9 II into one word, that word would be heat. Even tons of more professional work like real estate or things like that. I mean, like 85% of shoots that even I do, the heat of this camera and what it generates isn't really an issue. YouTubers, content creators, people shooting B-roll as a B camera, whatever. It's great. It really is. And I really did love the images, but for stuff like weddings, events, and stuff you need to keep rolling and you only have one chance to get that one shot, that's where the issue arises. And it's not even just the fact that it can get hot. It's particularly the stuff that you can control and the stuff that you can't is how I think about it. The temperature, your environment, the angle of the sun, you can't always control those things to the degree you would want. But the stuff you can control is how you shoot the camera. Your power source and inputs, whether you use a monitor or additional accessories or not. And I bring those things up because for every additional accessory you use, whether you use power delivery or whatever, it adds heat to the system. And then because it has no fans or exhausts or vents or things like the GH7 or the S5 IIX even has, overheating becomes a real worry. And it is a worry more than an actual issue, I think, just because I think that threat of overheating and the paranoia and the constant babysitting and charging that little USB Ulanzi fan that I used, which did work by the way. And even if the camera doesn't fully overheat, it can affect your image quality. I noticed this first when running a battery life test on all my cameras, and the G9 II got significantly noisier in the second half of its recording before it did eventually overheat. I don't have much to show of this other than this screen capture from the camera, but the noise does get significantly worse over time. And keep this in mind with cameras too, like the S9 or any camera that doesn't have some kind of cooling mechanism. While it might not overheat, it might give you images that are noisier than you might otherwise expect. It just felt like a little too many things to consider when I just wanted a camera that I knew would work. And that camera just ended up being the GH7. So when it came out, obviously I had essentially a GH6 body with the G9 II autofocus. And I said, yeah, that's basically all I need. And I bought it like super fast. When I got it and started using it, it just felt right. I had missed the grip, the button layout, the front record button, the tilty flippy screen. I shouldn't have been surprised because I've always said that the GH6 is my favorite body design of all time. And after taking it on a few weddings and events, I knew I had made the right choice. Not only was that form factor there, but any fear of any overheating in any reasonable situation was just totally gone. While I did love the G9 II body sharing accessories and cages and stuff with my S5 II, it never really felt like it was made to use them. I mean, rigging up such a light little camera, and it was way lighter than the S5 II, by the way, it just felt wrong. Plugging in all these accessories and power banks and stuff that I did with the GH6 that caused the camera to overheat, it just was tipping me off that I chose the wrong camera. And, you know, we should have listened even, like on the Lumix live streams, like there was a reason they pushed so hard that this was a photo camera. I think they wanted us to know the GH7 was around the corner, but I was just a little too impatient. So yeah, for casual stuff, even tons of pro work, like I said, this is a great option. The G9 II, if you're shooting stills, this camera is crazy, like top 2 Micro Four Thirds cameras for photos, like, and it's not even close after that. It probably has even better weather sealing too than most cameras out there. So of course this camera is still great if you're a content creator, photographer, or doing video in like extreme conditions like wildlife or something, but you don't need like indefinite record times like doing hikes, travel, quick clips, B-roll, and you just want that phase detect autofocus, 25 megapixel sensor, 4K 120, 5.8K 60, open gate, whatever it is. This is a great option. And if it doesn't, it should soon have compatibility with the Lumix Lab app, which is really handy for, again, some of this social media, quick turnaround content creation, or just fun photography. I just trying to get across the fact that this camera is still super valid and super great, like really, really good, especially for the prices you can find it at if you get a little lucky or if you're a little patient. I think some places have trade-in bonuses and stuff as well, so you get like 500, 600, maybe even like $700 off a brand new G9 II. So it's kind of a steal. And I would say the last type of person for the G9 II is someone who could have crossovers with the other people I just mentioned, but it's those people that do not tend to rig up their cameras and just use it straight out of the box, camera, battery, lens, boom. Because I think just the idea that, oh, I might want to add a monitor at some point, but it's going to add heat. I might want to use a V-mount or a battery bank, but it might generate more heat. Stuff like that. Like for me, what did it was it didn't even overheat at 4K 120 or 5.8K. It overheated at 4K 60 in full disclosure. And I was using a V-mount. I was using a monitor. And the message it gave me was that those were significantly contributing to the extra heat in the camera for one reason or another. And if I can get a G9 II to overheat with some accessories indoors, shooting weddings, ceremonies, little things like that, and a lot of, like, not the main wedding ceremony, other ceremonies that happen in homes or events or things like that, I do like to run my camera, just camera, lens, going for it, but I do like and need to rig it up on occasion as well. And that was the final thing, was just like, this is changing how I want to use this camera and these cameras, and that's not going to work for me, but it might work for you. So that's all I'm trying to say here is don't write this camera off completely, but hopefully this is enough information to decide whether you want to spend, $1,300 to $1,700 on the G9 II, or move up to the full frame S5 II or GH7 for not that much more. It really is up to you and what you do. But for shooting long form, non-repeatable events and weddings where you have one chance with a rig, it just couldn't be my main camera with the way I personally shoot. And it's a little too expensive to be considered like a good B or C camera, where I'm usually shooting with my GH6 or GH5S as a B and C camera. Anyway, I hope if you were wondering like where my G9 II went, or were confused or trying to decide which one to get, I hope this helped. The G9 II actually is a crazy good value now. You can get it for like $1,300 to $1,700 used or new even. And I really did love the camera, but at the end of the day, it had to go. And I sold to my brother, who does a lot of like lower end video work, like lower quality, like 1080p, 4K, no 4K 120, no 5.8K, and loves taking little snapshots and just wanted good autofocus. That's a great purpose for that lens, and I think he's going to make some great stuff with it. So if you have any questions about my decision, let me know down in the comments. If you liked the video, feel free to like, subscribe, and if you did subscribe, I'll see you when I see you.